and this will make sense literally in no time. But I had to turn the engine off, and the engine should still be running by this time. And actually, before you start the test, it tells you if you need to switch off the engine because of the reason I did, then those needs replacing. But let's just let this finish and I will show you exactly. There we go. So you know exactly what we are doing, don't you? And looks like I'm gonna be able to squeeze out a few more videos out of this car. Hey, right. Hi everybody, all my followers. Be welcome to another video. So, if you watched at least the last video on this car, you've seen that by the time I got home from fixing one problem, another problem happened. Now, what I've done, well, let me go back. The car, a 2015 Mercedes CLA 220 diesel engine. I believe this is the 2 liter or 2.2 liter engine. And right, the car, I went to resolve an issue with the DPF. If you watched the other video, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'll leave a link in the description below for all the other videos I've done with this car so far. And by the time I was driving back home after the DPF regeneration, which is done at a maximum of 50 kilometers per hour, which is like 32 miles per hour, which takes forever and you can't really pull the car. So by the time I finished, I started to floor the car around and boom, engine light came on. And when I got back home, as I've showed on the other video, scanned the car and I had an issue for fuel pressure. So I decided that it was time to do some tests. Now, there is a few tests you can do on the car, which I did them already, and one actually failed. So this one I had to interrupt because of, I think you have already seen on the video. We're gonna ignore this. Just gonna go back and ignore this test for now, and come back here. So I done this test here. So what this test does is, with the engine running, it revs up the engine really quick to about 1600 bars and 1600 RPMs, and then by the time the test finishes at 18 seconds, you should have at least 200 bars. And this is how my test has been completed. Okay, obviously this one is just done now, so obviously I didn't even have the engine running, but basically failed the test. And I thought, okay, do we have really a leak somewhere? So I decided to do the back leak off test, and I couldn't run the engine for 82 seconds because look at that. So 1, 2, bottle is full, 3 and 4. So 4 of the injectors are 2 of the injectors are bad, and I've just finished to put these injectors back in with new seals, new bolts, man. So I'm gonna have to take all of it out again, at least 2 of them. Wow. So I think at this point I don't even need to go for a drive or do anything. I think at this point it's very visible that when you have, so I had the engine running for about 40 seconds, not even 40 seconds. I had the engine running for about 30 seconds or so, and as you can see, 2 of the injectors, special number 2, this is going from, let me see if I have this right. Yeah, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I know it's the opposite, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how I connected it. So number 1, as you can see, in the same amount of time, didn't even leak in there. Where is the fuel on the pipe? Let me see if I can see it. I was just start coming through. Actually, it's just there. Just start coming through. On number 2, where is number 2? On number 2, number 3. Number 3. Where's number 3? Where's the fuel on number 3? Oh, look at that, number 3. So number 1, Number 2, number 3. Number 3, I follow the pipe. Look where the fuel is. Right here. Still here, look. Only go from there to here. So number 1 got all the way up to here. Number 1, number 2, fill the bottle. Number 3 is right there at the back. And number 4, we also got a little bit too high. Okay, so it needs at least 2 injectors. At least 2 injectors. And that might explains why the car takes a little bit to start. When you try to start it, it's not like it takes too long, but there is definitely a sort of hesitation. This obviously explains why. So there's nothing else I can do, guys. This is self-explanatory. There's no point to be here trying to argue or come up with any other explanations. 2 injectors needs replacing, and then we're going to be able to go and drive the car and see what happens. Now, I know I haven't showed you the car before. I did on the previous video. I didn't really show you when it happens, but it happened when I actually rev the engine, when I accelerated the engine, and I'm going to show you that here as well, because obviously this is the video for the injectors. So if I come here, let me go there and back to codes. So the code we are talking about, and I haven't even showed you that. A bit of a messed up video, this one. So this is because, so the too low is because of something else I was doing in one of the tests. Sorry, the too low here, forget about that one. So this is the code that was triggered while I was driving. And if I show you here, when on the freeze frame when it happened, you can see here that the rail pressure, the actual value was 1,274. I was at 2,000 RPMs or so. I was definitely pulling the car because I remember when it happened. I floored it and the engine light just came on and boom. So there we go. So you can see here. So the engine was requiring 1,560. And I only got 1,200. So pretty much 300 bars difference. That's quite a lot. That's definitely a lot. I was doing 115 kilometers per hour. And that's when it happened. So next step now is telling the owner the good news. And see what he wants to do. And after speaking with the owner and give him the options, he chose to go with reconditioned injectors, which I already have them. They are there on that box, and which is a fairly good, generally good option. Reconditioned injectors usually they are good. I had instances where they don't last, but that's a different story. But guys, that's what the owner wanted. I would like to apologize for my voice. I think I'm with men's flu. I think that's what they call it. I just left night shifts and I had a really bad night at work. Feeling really poorly. Had a few hours sleep and I woke up not much better, to be honest. And I think well, my voice might sound a little bit weird, but I do apologize. The world continues spinning and things don't stop. So guys, like with no further ado, let's gonna pull these injectors out, the 2 bad ones, and I will put the new ones in, and hopefully we'll have a fix for this problem. And in this car, luckily you don't need to take a lot of stuff out, so I've just unplugged. I don't even think I need to unplug this because I think I'm gonna leave this loom here maybe, but maybe not. I'm gonna try not to have to unplug all the injectors and all that good stuff. But I pulled this back a little bit here, just to lift it up from the anchor points, so you can reach the high pressure lines. I feel like I'm just showing you everything again because literally I just show you all of this on the first video on this car. But if you just landed here to watch this part, I don't want to skip anything. At least on one injector I'll show you everything. Otherwise, guys, just go on the description below. I had all 4 injectors out and I explained to you absolutely everything. So but I'll show you here, it's not a problem. So to unplug these injectors, all you do is you pull this little gray tab back like that, and as soon as it's reached that point, the plug just comes off. Okay, not rocket science, and that reveals the bolt right underneath. But before we take the bolt, we're going to take the fuel line off, and then we'll do the same on number 4. I ended up removing actually the loom for the injectors, for the electrical loom here at the top, and the 2 fuel lines. It just makes it a little bit easier to work around here. And the next step is obviously remove the injectors at T50. Okay, and you just undo the bolt. There we go. And now number 4. That is number 4. There we go. Now, obviously, and repeat to myself, I just had these injectors out, so they're gonna slide out like butter, no problem at all. And just remember, we're gonna have to renew the bolts, so we're gonna use new bolts. So these bolts are rubbish, they've been here for just over an hour. And new washers. The washers, there is something interesting with this. So I do have spare 2 bolts and 2 washers. If you do watch the channel, you know exactly why I have this. But one thing that I've noticed, and I've noticed that actually at the start, on the previous video, sorry, and I've noticed now as well, because so we're going to use all of these anyway, so all my spares are gone. We'll pull them out, and I've noticed that not just with the old ones, so this was the old washers, I noticed now on the new injectors, new reconditioned injectors, if I pull the washer that comes with it out, I want to show you this. Can you see the difference between these 2 washers? Not just the thickness, but also the fact that, I don't know if it comes on camera, these washers, the Mercedes ones, they are like rounded on both sides. These ones are pure flat. I don't know if this has this shape to help a better crushing and a better seal, but they are definitely different shapes. So obviously I'm not going to use the ones that came with the injectors. I'm going to use the Mercedes ones, but and I'm going to use new bolts. Obviously they are already here. The other bolts are rubbish, and that's it. So let's kind of pull those injectors out and put the new ones in. So we're going to pull. Look at that. Number 2. There is number 2. That there. And now we are going to prepare the new one. So this is the old one, it's the new one. So first, what we do have here, I already showed you on the other video, is ceramic grease and normal multi-purpose grease. I will show you why I need both, or why I want both. So we're going to pull these little caps off, that off. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, let me pull the left back a tiny bit, is grease the new injector. Okay, now with a little bit of multi-purpose grease, we're just gonna put, that's how I do it, you don't have to do the same, but I just like to put a tiny bit of grease in there, right here at on this end, and then slide the new washer, and the new washer, it will stick to the grease, and now it will not come off. Before we put this in, we're just gonna clean quickly the. We're just gonna give a quick cleaning to the well, to the injector well, before we slide the new injector in. And because these wells, as you well know, they have just been cleaned not long ago. I'm not going to be here using nothing fancy or spending too much time because they are already pre-cleaned. So I'm going to use paper on the end of this thingy, and we're just going to go like that. Because they've been all cleaned. Okay, that perfect. Just one more to make it a little bit better, and that's it. A little bit of paper like this. Look at that, cleaned as a whistle. So now we grab the clamp, we grab the injector, new bolt, obviously if you are doing this from the beginning, make sure you clean the hole, the bolt for the bolt, etc. Obviously I've just checked, this is really clean, guys. If you follow the channel, you know that we did all of this, so all of this is cleaned. There's no dirt, anything around these injectors, so everything is really good. So we don't need to waste too much time, but otherwise you'll have to thoroughly make sure you clean absolutely everything. So this is done all the way down. Now I'm going to get the other one in place, and then actually I might just take you through this one, and then I'll do the last one off camera, and we'll do that. So one thing I would like to show you guys actually is that these injectors, they come obviously with new programming codes, and as you can see they come with the programming code right there written at the bottom. On the new ones is the same, is right here, except the last line. The last line is the Mercedes part number for the injector, but then these two lines above underneath the barcodes and underneath the QR codes are the injector codes, and then you have it here now, the new injector codes. Okay, to make sure they are correct, they are also printed on the paperwork, on the paper that comes with it inside the bag. It comes actually the old code, and then it comes the new code, and I already checked the new code match perfectly this. So it is good that they actually get new caps, and they get new codes in there. Sometimes I get these injectors and they come with the old codes on the injector, and then on the paperwork comes with a new code. But these ones actually comes with the code in there, so even if the guy loses the paperwork or whatever, he still has the code in there, which is good. So I'm going to take you now through the tightening of this injector, and then we'll just repeat the process for number 4. And the torque for these injectors, or the way these injectors are tightened, is 15. Oh, sorry, I thought I had this. So it's 15 is 1.5. 1.5, there we go. It's 1.5, 15 Newton meters first. So we'll do 1.5, and then you do 2 times 90 degrees. I've just done the first 90, and now we're gonna re-zero the thingy. And we're gonna do another 90. Okay, there we go. My hand might gonna be at the front, but there we go, another 90. and that's it. You do 90, so you do 15 Newton meters, and then you do 90 degrees plus 90 degrees, and that's the torque, and that's the final torque of the bolts. And both injectors are now in place, everything's connected, returns, absolutely everything. And now we're gonna code the injectors back into the ECU, and then try to start the car, see how it starts. And as I said at the start of this video, or earlier, then we're gonna go for a test drive and see what happens. So, ready to program the injectors, and we are ready to go. I went to control unit and I'm now on the engine ECU. We'll figure out quickly where the injectors are programmed, but I think I know where they are. Obviously, what I've done is on the papers, on the sheets that came with each injector, I put in there where he went, in this case number 4, and that one there went to number 2. And then as you can see there, as I said to you, they do come with the old C3I number, which we don't need, but we need the new, which is in bold, and that's the one we're going to use. Okay, so this is number 4, that's number 2. Then on the back or below, it comes with some sort of results on some tests, whatever that is, doesn't really matter for now. So here on this, when you get into the engine ECU, this is the first tab that opens, which is the version. And if I recall this correctly, we're gonna go to adaptations, and then we go, I think is teach-in. And there we go, and I think that's the one, injector quantity adjustment. I'm pretty sure that's the one. I'm pretty sure. That's the one. Let me see if it is. Absolutely. So here he explains you roughly, so there is the injector, explains you how this is done. Okay. We'll just press continue. Okay, so number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Okay, this is number 2. Okay, so here is the old numbers. Okay, I think, I might be wrong, if I don't put nothing on the old numbers, on the ones I don't want to change, the ECU will just keep the same number there. So we're gonna do number 2 and then number 4. And the new codes are in, so I'm gonna leave the other 2 blank. Actually, before I do that, and glad I did it, so look fuel injector number 3, okay, and look at the code in there. So I've checked the first one, TP36YRX, and then that one is M7DA4S1. I'm just looking at the first 3 and last 3, but look at those numbers there. And now let's gonna look on the actually injector himself. Let me get some light. So number 1, I don't know if you can see there, that's correct, TP36, then the last letters YRX. But look at number 3, what we have in there, L79WWX. And let me guarantee you, I've checked the old injectors, they were matching their positions, number 2 and number 4. The codes were absolutely correct, so it's not like if I swap them around. Literally, these injectors been replaced at some point and never been programmed. So we're gonna do it while we are here. We're gonna get the code in there and we'll program this injector as well. Okay, so the codes are in now, and I do believe, as I said, we don't need to put the stored one because that will just put the same code back in. I'm pretty sure. Let's gonna press start. We will then double check. There we go. So that one was written, that was written into the ECU. That one was not, because it was already correct. So we'll press continue. That should come out of this There we go. So, oh, this is really interesting. Look at that. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see if this is correct. TP, number 2, NP0. So that's the order, which is really good. So number 2 is the NP0, yeah, and then number 3 is the one. Oh, sorry guys, I'm not showing you anything. Then number 3, so there it goes. 1, 2, 3. This is looking at the front of the engine. The injectors goes that way, and that shows you which code is on each one, and they all match. Everything is correct. We'll just press continue. It's resetting the ECU. There we go. We get all these faults, but it doesn't really matter. And then what I'm going to do is, rather than just do like I did last time, I'm going to bleed the fuel system before we carry on. If we scroll on the teach in process all the way down, there is a bleeding high pressure fuel circuit right there. Oh man. Okay, so I need more voltage. No, actually it's not too bad. Let's press continue. Okay, it's activated in 40 seconds when button start is pressed. Okay, let's gonna do it. There we go. That's, I think, done. Switch off the ignition. I think all this does is, with the engine off, it just opens the fuel pressure regulator and all that stuff to allow the fuel to literally be pushed by the low fuel pressure pump from the tank all the way forward. Then because the valves are going to be open, it's going to allow the fuel to be pushed all the way through to the injectors and all the way back to the tank through the return. And that will push the air out of the system. So that's done now. Switch ignition back on. And now that should be it, I think. Reached the end. Okay, let's gonna try to start the engine then. Switch ignition off. And just to let you know, the engine did not start it. Didn't even try, but you've seen the bar, the pressure was about 29 bars. That was the tops. That was the maximum that I reached. And I think my charger just stripped because it was pulling too much current. Switch ignition back on. Ignition back on. Is he going to ask me to do the same thing again, or? Okay, it tells me to start now. I'm just going to make sure actually, I can take you guys with me. Let me just make sure my charger, yeah, is stripped. I knew it would have tripped. Okay, let me just make sure there is no leaks visible around here. No, everything looks clean and tidy. No, there doesn't seem to be any leaks, so everything looks great. I should allow the battery to charge a little bit before I attempt to start the engine, which is what I'm going to do. Zentri's tell me to start the engine, but because the battery went a little bit low now, I'm just going to leave another 5 minutes or so, then I will attempt to start the engine. Few minutes gone by, about 6 or 7 minutes. Let's gonna try to start this now. Oh, come on. There he is. Flip the throttle above 2,400 RPMs. Let me do it. Okay, I can't do this, so we'll have to leave this for a different time. I cannot do this because I think it will not. Oh, it did one. I thought it wouldn't reach 2,400 RPMs because of the fact that the codes are stored on the ECU, but it's actually doing it. So 2, 1, bleeding routine ended successfully. Right, so now what we're going to do is actually, before I forget, is quickly disconnect my charger. Okay, and it's running good. There is definitely no leaks. 100% no leaks. And we're gonna leave it here running for a little bit, and then we're gonna go for a test drive, and hopefully everything is good. But before that, let me just go quickly to codes and events. And I think what I'm going to do while I'm here, and before I even go for a test drive, is we're going to sort the other codes by starting the next video. But that is for the next video. and look at that. Just finished green tick. Just finished repairing that other issue. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Trover Codes. Obviously, if you are interested on that video, links in the description below if the video has been published. If it hasn't, just wait for the video to come out. So as you can see, all the faults are stored now. So all we're going to do now is clear all the faults before we go for a test drive. Fault codes, memory deleted. We're going to start monitoring to see if there's any codes coming back. As you can see, ignition on only. The engine is not running, it's just ignition on. No codes came back. We're going to stop that. Now we're going to start the engine, close the bonnet, go for a test drive, see what happens. So let's go for a test drive, and let me put this on the screen so you can see exactly what the car is doing. So the top bar is the, oops, it's not starting very good, sorry about that. The top bar is the pressure of the rail, so that bar should stay between these two little arrows, between that and that, so it should stay green all the time. And the bottom bar is how much the pressure is deviating from the actually requested pressure, and that should stay pretty much in the middle. On the green bar, it should stay as close to zero as possible. Now obviously the tool is not fast enough to update the screen, even though it looks like it is, but it's actually not. So any bleep that I touch the accelerator, like I did now, for example. So look, I'm just going to bleep the accelerator, you see, and you get this. So but what I want to look at is when we are driving steady, either pulling the car or just driving steady, is that the bar stays on the green, and that's pretty much it, really. So that's what we're looking for. So it's gonna carry on driving, and I guess I'll leave you watching this for a little bit, and then I need to get on those better roads though, because here is a little bit. And then I guess if we find no issues, we have a fix. I know exactly what I need to do to replicate the fault, which was literally just pulling the car really hard for about 5 seconds, like full throttle for a little bit, and the car would trigger the fault. So that's what we're going to try to do now as soon as I come out of these bumpy roads. Now, so far it's driving absolutely perfect, as you can probably see on the live data. A little bit bumpy, but I managed to do a couple nice pulls. But I'm going to go on this main road now, and that's where I'm really going to try to give a good pull to the car. I put it in sport mode. I'm actually going to put it in manual mode, so I can actually rev the car as much as I want and pull it really hard. I don't have much space here, but I'll do what I can. So first gear, second gear, let me do a pull until the red line was fine. Red line, look at that. Now I need to slow down. So it is absolutely perfect, no issues at all. The car is driving with no issues whatsoever. I have no concerns, everything looks good. I'm just gonna get out of this intersection here onto that other stretch that you might have seen on some other videos. But that last time the car would have come up with the light already, and with the fault, as you might have seen on the live data, was at 1,500 bars the car was asking for. Just now we got up to the car asking for over 2,000 bars, so, or close to 2,000 bars. I was not really looking properly, but it looked something like that. So that's way more than what triggered the fault the last time. Right, so after this chicane here, so I'm in manual third gear, red line, slow down. Guys, he's driving perfect. I have no concerns whatsoever. I don't know if you have seen, ideally was another injector. Number one, I think, was starting to leak a little bit too much, especially when compared with number 3, which was the best one of them all, which now makes sense why that injector, the code didn't match the ECU, because looks like it's been replaced but never programmed. Who does that kind of work? I just don't understand. You know, anyone that works on cars knows these injectors need to be programmed. Someone that just replace the injectors and leave it is not a very good move. But it is what people does. There's nothing I can do about that. But that's it. I'm just gonna turn around here, do another pull on the way back, just to make sure. So second gear, it's gonna get out of the roundabout. It's gonna give you a good pull here, and I do apologize. I've run out space on the phone. That's gonna go again. That's gonna do a pull on second gear then. Okay, that's it. Slow down, guys. As you've seen, the pressure goes within those 2-liter arrows. The pump, the system is supplying the fuel pressure that the car needs without causing any faults. And just before we go, because I forgot something, or a couple of things. One, so I just drove back home. The car drove absolutely perfect. So the next thing I want to show you very quickly is that obviously, oh come on, this is really slippery, is that the car is fault free. It's gonna give a scan. There we go, no fault codes. Also, one thing that I've noticed is that the vibration that the car was doing on the load, when you would press the accelerator really hard, that sort of vibration kind of gone. No, kinda, it's disappeared. So I can only think that the fact that the car was not giving enough pressure to the cylinders, perhaps the spraying of the fuel into the cylinders, the combustion was not happening correctly. It could cause some sort of imbalancing on the engine, maybe. Yeah, could be that. But yeah, the car is driving absolutely beautifully. I don't have any concerns, and that's it for the video. Now, yes, we're gonna wrap up this. So in the end, well, you've seen it. So with no further ado, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe you learned something, maybe I showed you something that you didn't know, maybe it's gonna help you. It helped you somehow. If you do still have any questions though, you guys know exactly how it works. You just put them right below, and like always, thanks for watching.